Alright, what's poppin', people? We're gonna be doing some coverage of an NUPL game that's currently ongoing between my teammate PokeSlice and Hoyd Confirmed, an NU council member. You haven't missed much to yet. I think just the one thing that I want to talk about so far that I've noticed is we have a Silvally ground. And you're looking at a Silvally ground in a matchup where the opposing team does not have an immunity to ground. So immediately you're looking at multi-attack being just absurdly good. Now, something worth noting, of course, Hoenn has multiple soft checks. So it's not like this Mon gets to just run roughshot, but it should be really good. And otherwise, we've just seen like some standard like early turns. Unfortunately, our Weezing didn't taunt versus Mudsdale. I think we Wisp just to try to deny this, and a Wisp is still good to help cripple Mudsdale. So we are playing with rocks on our side, but we can get rid of those. Also, I'm gonna turn this a little down. I don't know if I actually turned it out at all, but if y'all do enjoy this kind of content, of course, where I live cover games, let me know. I know y'all have mentioned before that you appreciate the, like, replay coverage. So, this is kind of like that. It's just live, and I frankly felt on a whim that I wanted to go over this game. This game could end up being terrible. It could end up being generally good. We don't know yet until it's played out. But if I'm PokeSlice here, I mean, again, this is one of those plays where you're like, okay, I don't want to let my Mantine get beat down. Hoenn actually disconnects, potentially giving PokeSlice the win on a 5-minute timeout. But, yeah, looking at this matchup, Mantine is just incredible for us. I will say, this doesn't have an item revealed, which is kind of interesting. Also, we are letting our stack Taka get very chipped, which, admittedly not the biggest issue, but still something I'm paying attention to. He's gonna make a double. This does reveal to be not a Scarf, which, or I guess not choiced in general, which I guess is something. He's gonna go Serena here. This is a free U-turn for us. That does 50. What in the hell? That is some insane chip, which also shows if we get a Swords Dance boost, we could potentially just straight up Heliolisk, which is kind of cool. And of course, getting some extra chip on this is nice too. Like, we're just trying to meet some thresholds pretty much at this point for our Silvally ground to start putting in work. And I think here, you Sludge Bomb. Yeah, he does. It actually does a very surprisingly low amount, but you don't lose anything by throwing off more. He actually taunts to try to prevent a Wish Pass. And I'm gonna be honest, I feel like that was a pretty pointless taunt. I don't think it did a lot for us. Oh, they're clicking so quickly. Stop. I want to go over this game. We did get off a spec Sludge Bomb versus this, though. Hoenn's always gonna protect here, I think. Which, I mean, okay. I don't think it matters. He actually goes to Stacka, and that's an incredibly good double. The nice thing too for us on that sort of play is if he does go for Protect or Wish even, say he expects a switch, this one always gets to come in on that play, and then like potentially threaten a Sword Stance. And threatening a Sword Stance versus his team, like we mentioned earlier, since there's no ground immunity, Silvally ground has a very high ceiling in this game, where it could potentially 6-0. Just offer it. And I don't remember for our Rotom's defog. I'm pretty sure we're toxic on our Mantine, which makes this the Fogger. Hoenn is going to protect, which doesn't do a whole lot, but it does let him know that we are toxic. Hurricane does 19. I also want to say that this Sylveon has a lot more special bulk than they normally run. Obviously, Mantine isn't very strong, but that still feels like a surprisingly low amount of damage. He is going to always get to Wish Pass here, which kind of sucks. But if you're PokeSlice, you do get Stealth Rock here. Never mind, we don't get Stealth Rock here because we get fully paralyzed. That does suck. It was also an incredibly greedy Heal Bell there. That was very risky. He could potentially just gotten gyroed, but he did not though. And he's making some really good doubles, of course, too here. So this is not a game where I'm entirely enthusiastic about my teammates' chances. We do go into Rotom Mo here. He doesn't know whether we're choiced or not yet. Looking at our team, you would assume Choice Scarf, I think always. Yeah, so he went Mudsdale there on the most obvious Leaf Storm of my life. I don't entirely get that, but I guess he feels horse isn't valuable? I'm gonna disagree, because this mon was like checked by this, and not a whole lot else. But I mean, hey, and he goes for rapid spin there. That is a good spin. I think at worst, I mean, there's really just not a whole lot of bad that happens there for you ever. But he's gonna go Heliolisk here. And when you look at our team too, Lisk is a menace. Especially this non-choice set. My guess would be it's heavy-duty boots if you're seeing U-turn. I think when you see itemless Heliolisk, really the only options are, well, items. When you see non-choice Heliolisk, really the only options are like boots or a magnet set, because magnet can sort of bluff you being choice specs. And I don't think you would run U-turn on magnet. I think you want to amp up your volt switch damage too. So I'm gonna adjust my mic there a little bit. So my guess is boots. Again, I don't think rocks are even that good for us to try to preserve. They are nice to still get damage on Sylveon, right? You know, every little bit of damage matters, and when you're looking at a team with Guzzlord as one of the primary wall breakers on it, Sylveon kind of hard walls you. You have to sludge bomb it every time it comes in, and so you would want to be able to force damage. Now he is going to T-Bolt. We're basically just going to be forced to sack our Guzz here. I think what he was trying to play for was getting Grand Valley in there, but Hoenn makes a really good U-turn play. There's no reason to give him that positioning. Again, we don't see an item, and I mean, like, are you boots? I don't feel like you are. But it's like, are you specs wishy-washy or something? I mean, yeah, this is an incredibly easy Motum play. He does stay in. To U-turn? But it gets Helio in. So it's like still good for him. This mon now is of course not able to activate Schooling. And he's actually gonna sack the Mantine here. I mean, my guess is to go Mo, yes. I was gonna immediately say Ground Valley, but it's like, you don't wanna give him too much chip. You wanna try to stay out of range of this thing's Surf / Grass Knot, which you can do, and he's gonna make a good Volt Switch again. I think you go Stacka here. Yeah. Now, the risk here is, of course, he has his own Stack Attacka. The Mon might win here. Because we know it's gonna be Trick Room, or it's at least most likely Trick Room. He could feasibly be another set, right? But how many Stack Attack sets do you know that aren't Trick Room? There aren't too many. You know, you're looking at like maybe Choice Band, which, I mean, sure, it could be. This team doesn't have a wall breaker other than, like I was saying, maybe Specs? I mean, to expand on that, I feel like Boots, you're still running Rapid Spin Serena, so it's not like you're running, you know, some maybe like hazard stacking offense where you have a, whole bunch of mons that could potentially get hit by hazards and you don't know how to fit an actual hazard control option there, so did you just say, okay, whatever, I'll put Boots on all my mons? I mean, it could just be Boots Rest Talk. It probably, I would guess it's Boots Rest Talk. The team just feels a little weak. And we actually see this body press and getting a defense boost, what it tells us is it's actually probably like, something like Protect Toxic? Which is interesting. And Slice is gonna get a Wisp off there. I mean, that's fine. Because you always get the Sludge Bomb here. You will, of course, live a Triple Axle. The question now is just gonna be, does he have the ability to outlast the Heliolisk? What's funny is the original Guzzlord set that we were gonna bring actually would have been a lot better this game. So that's one of those things where you're just like, damn, that's tough. U-turn Dark Pulse Thunderbolt. That is a very interesting set, and this turn is semi-important. I feel like if you're Slice, you always want to, like, Volt here to deny momentum on his side, and he does. That's really good. The unfortunate thing is this doesn't kill. I lied. I'm so sorry, guys. I need to do better as a role model within the NU community, and I should not lie about damage thresholds like that. I lied so easily, too. Did you see that? Didn't hesitate. Anyhow, we do KO. I feel like I've just seen the Mon tank a hit weirdly before, and yeah, unfortunately, this is going to be over for us. Because the Sylveon is going to tank this Leaf Storm. We'd have to get like a crit. And it's like, what, 5% chance? That doesn't happen. I don't even know if a crit KOs this, I'll be honest. Yeah, I'm not sure that a crit would be able to KO this. Oh, would've. Damn. That was a really close game, though. We can actually like, do an instant replay real quick, too, to cover like the early turns. So, again, when we talk about how good Silvally Ground is in this sort of matchup, we're referencing that because look at his team. It's really slow. It's not even Scarf this. Like, I'm gonna let everyone here know right now, if this is Flame Charge Silvally Ground, Hoenn loses like 9 times out of 10 just on preview. I think this team's kind of bad for that reason. You're giving one of the most... I tried saying like most and best at the same time. You're giving one of the best Pokemon in the metagame way too much leverage just from your builder, and I think that's always a bad decision. But we always lead with Ground Valley because, yeah, you have no Mon that could just blank your multi. You have no Mon that outspeeds if it's a Flame Charge Valley. So, had we run that, his team just falters from the get-go. There's just absolutely nothing he can do other than try to deny setup and keep, like, these guys and even kind of this high enough health. I guess even Serena. He has a lot of soft checks, but I feel like this kind of team just crumbles with not a whole lot of prior setup needed. But yeah, you're going to see the U-turn there because he's always going to switch because, like, Heliolisk is basically the closest thing to a direct answer that he has because it outspeeds, and as we saw later on, Grass Knot does do a lot. And the Weasel comes in again. I think we should have taunted here, probably. The problem always was going to be Helio. Like, Wisp is the mid-ground because you cover both this staying in and him going to Heliolisk there. But I think Taunt still ends up being better because, as you see, when he gets up rocks, since we're Choice Scarf Rotom Mow with Defog, the hazard control is already going to be a little bit unreliable / easily exploited because locking into Defog kind of sucks, right? It's not like it's some, you know, what's a word? It's not like it's a bad idea, right? Scarf Landers in OU, it runs Choice Scarf Defog sets because it's a lot of roll compression. You have a Mon that gives you a good amount of just all-around utility. You throw Defog on because maybe the last move slot otherwise is kind of, you know, not overly important. And in the context for this meta, Rotom does have a decent enough matchup versus one of the most common rockers in Mudsdale. But of course, that 50-50 ends up being lost. He taunts the next turn, which... I'll be real, some of these first few turns I didn't pay enough attention to, because I was trying to set up my recording. Why did we taunt that turn? What is a Mudsdale gonna do? What was he trying to hope to taunt on the switch? My guess would be he was trying to taunt the Wishy-Washy that he expected, so maybe that taunt was... maybe it worked as intended? That's my only guess, though, yeah. But it also feels like a really weird taunt to go for. Anyhow. Then, of course, this comes out, it gets to T-Bolt, it gets the para really early. In theory, it doesn't matter too much, but it ends up costing us rocks at some point. But as we established, it feels like a lot of his Mons were boots anyway, / didn't take much damage from the Stealth Rock. I keep pressing pause and it doesn't work. So I don't really think that mattered too much. Wow, we got full parrot on potential ups several times down. He has Rescald there. Yeah, that works. Heliolisk comes out. We don't Toxic, but we Hurricane as a mid-ground. That's fine. Stack Attack comes out. He just always T-Bolts for Chip. So where we see the U-turn revealed, which is where it kind of becomes a bit rougher of a matchup. And from here, we know how the rest of his battle goes out. Sludge Bombing this. And the Helio comes out. Yeah, that's another turn where I felt like Taunt was a little weird. I don't fully understand it. Because the idea is, of course, you're trying to deny the Wish. Or like the Heal Bell, maybe? Probably in this context, the Heal Bell. But I feel like, even if they Heal Bell, you've got Sylveon really low now for Guzzlord. So he's got to play a lot more carefully around when he can get Sylveon in. Of course, Sylveon's a mon that can, like, in a pinch, check Ground Valley if it's, like, already weakened and you're at full. And it's not boosted, things like that. You gotta throw a lot of context, but it's still a situation. Yeah, I feel like... I don't like that taunt. Even because we've seen at this point that Hoenn wants to leverage his Heliolisk to consistently get it in versus Weezing because, you know, it is kind of risky to go Ground Valley versus this because it is so good you don't want to risk throwing it away to a Grass Knot. I feel like any time you get a potential chance to Sludge Bomb, you probably take it. I think partly he was trying to also play around this maybe being Rest Talk Wishy-Washy. In theory, that Mon can come in versus Weezing, and we don't really want Weezing 1v1ing Schooling Form, because that Scald's going to be really strong. And so if you could taunt it on the switch, you know then that he can't ever go for Rest to cleanse the burn and get back to full. So maybe that's the kind of proactive play it was going. I just think at a point, had we seen this sequence play out by then? I mean, he was really just getting Helioskin versus a lot of, like, both of these throughout the game. But I feel you probably do still... I think if you think he's gonna rest, you still have ways around that, right? Like, Rotom Mow can still come in and just leave Storm. His Mon to come in on that at this point would have been a weakened Serena, and so I don't think you're too worried about that. Maybe, I mean, a Stack Attacker looks like it was maybe specially defensive. Yeah. And we also, even on this turn, right? We do see where maybe another Sludge Bomb would have been really good. This would have been in range. And maybe we don't call that a, Well, yeah, I'm saying if you're expecting Heal Bell and then he stays in, or whatever, so you're taunting to deny Heal Bell or something. Yeah, Sludge Bomb would have had it in range for that one, so that could have been good. And I'm not... I guess I should also clarify, right? Well, I'm not saying that Pokeslice is, like, making some terrible plays. I'm more just trying to give my thought process, things that I would have done on these turns, which is easy as a spectator because I feel no pressure, and I'm also, at this point, looking back at the game, knowing how it all goes. Do you think a couple of these turns could have been played differently? To throw it out here, I think this Protect from Hoenn is very random. I guess if you're trying to just see if this has Toxic, it's fine, but... Honestly, do you care that much? Maybe. He gets a Heal Bell off with this at a point anyway. Yeah, though, I think this game was overall pretty good. It's this very sad thing that we were not able to witness at the end. An interesting thought that I'll throw out there, what if we had gotten Rocks up? Well, we get them up at one point, Serena just ends up spinning them. We had a couple turns where we didn't get to have Stealth Rock. Just as a result of the full paras, I wonder if we ever do get them up if Sylveon's just lower when it comes down to this play. And then maybe we can win. It's an interesting thought. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this. Of course, if you did and you'd like to see more of these live coverages of the games, let me know. And I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.